essentially charged my money with the crime.
But not even.
They didn't even charge it with a crime. They sued it. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. They sued my money.
Sounds odd, but this is happening across the country and in Ohio. Federal agents seizing the cash of Americans suspected of committing a crime, but never charging them. It's called civil asset forfeiture.
Tonight, a Columbus couple shares for the first time how this legal practice left their bank accounts drained until they decided to fight back and reclaim their innocence. 10 TV's Kevin Landers with the story you only see here on 10 TV.
Jeff Bezos and his lawyers have done to my family for the past 4 years should be on the front page of every newspaper in America, but it's not.
The story of Amy and Carl Nelson's legal battle is laid out in video.
3 years ago today, at this exact time on the West Coast, 4 FBI agents were headed to my home to execute a search warrant.
After video on TikTok, more than 200,000 followers check in to hear her story.
My name is Amy. 4 years ago, Jeff Bezos and Amazon tried to convince the Department of Justice to put my husband in prison for allegedly violating his honest services to Amazon.
It's a story about how two entrepreneurs took on the second richest man in the world, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, along with the Department of Justice, and won, and how the legal battle nearly destroyed their family financially.
We've spent over $3 million at this point.
We've spent $3.7 million to date.
To defend their innocence.
You described this case as being hunted. What did you mean by that?
From the day the FBI showed up at our house on April 2nd, 2020, it was clear that they believed my husband had committed a crime and that they, in partnership with Amazon, would do everything they could to get him to admit that he had done so.
This is the couple's first TV interview.
They wanted to make sure we didn't have a dime to our names, because how can you defend yourself if you can't feed your kids?
Carl Nelson says the FBI told him he was the target of a criminal investigation. Court documents describe how the DOJ and Amazon alleged Nelson, while working at Amazon and after he was fired for yelling at a vendor, worked with a real estate developer to direct land deals in exchange for what Amazon claimed was millions of dollars in kickbacks. In a statement to 10 TV, Amazon said these defendants orchestrated a sophisticated scheme to obtain millions of dollars in kickbacks related to Amazon real estate projects. Given the egregious facts we've uncovered related to this misconduct, we really have no choice but to act to protect our interests and move forward with our civil case.
But you've never been charged to this date with any crime?
Never.
And was never arrested, but Carl and Amy's money was.
They essentially charged my money with a crime.
But not even.
They didn't even charge it with a crime. They sued it. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. They sued my money.
Nearly $900,000, and the government froze their credit cards.
I'd say that was pretty terrifying. That made it real.
It's called civil asset forfeiture, where the government arrests the money, not the person.
Do you believe the government weaponized the civil asset forfeiture law to get you to plead to something you felt you were innocent?
Absolutely.
To fight for their survival, they needed cash quickly. They sold their home in Seattle, but to get their seized money back, there was a catch.
We agreed to settle for 85% of the money and a promise not to sue them over the civil forfeiture.
Their case is not unique. Attorney Dan Albums has sued the government over civil asset forfeiture and won.
Civil forfeiture flips the presumption of innocence on its head. It presumes that people are guilty and that their property can be seized and permanently forfeited without ever convicting them of a crime.
Civil asset forfeiture is happening across the country, including here at John Glenn International. Kermit Warren was flying through Columbus to his home in New Orleans.
He was carrying his life savings, $28,000, to buy a truck. Domestically, you can legally travel with any amount of money, but the DEA seized the cash, claiming it was connected to drug activity.
He was a black man traveling through an airport with more cash than they thought was appropriate, and based on that evidence, the fact that he was traveling through an airport with cash, they seized his money as though it was the proceeds of illegal activity.
Warren sued the government to get his money back and won. As for the Nelsons,
the truth is the truth.
The couple is now 4 years into their legal fight. Their hope is to reform the legal system so that no one else has to endure what they did.
I did everything that my contract says I can do.
And a federal judge agreed with that. We just had to spend millions of dollars to prove it.
Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
Pretty in depth there. Back in 2017, Ohio lawmakers passed a bill to reform asset forfeiture, citing concerns over due process. So today, prosecutors must first provide clear and convincing evidence that the property is connected to a crime.